What's the matter, Neil? Scared?
No, Callum, you don't understand. I was walking in the forest, and there was a guy. He was wearing a hat. He had a stick. He said, "Get out of here with them Funko Pops," and he just kept hitting me. He just kept hitting me.
Isn't that the same man who was going to give reviews to movies? Never let them on the big screen? No!
Pika Pika!
Yeah, Detective Pikachu, I'm scared too!
That's my
Freddy Krueger has blinded me!
Welcome to the nightmare, female dog.
This is my show now, bitch.
Welcome, everybody, to Reactaholics. I'm Dr. Knealetapus, stepping out of my car because I have to show something on camera. So, we actually got something since one of our last episodes. And since Will is here, I think it's a good time to show it. Before we introduce everybody, I don't even know if it's going to show up on camera. Okay. Can you guys see this?
I see something.
Can you see what it is?
It's a little
The
blurry.
car died.
Your camera's all blurry and stuff.
Fuck it. Hold up.
Night time.
Hold up. I am going to just open the door. Hold up. Okay. So what it is, look right here. It's a tie. And specifically, I guess I'll just say it here. We got a Hufflepuff tie.
Nice.
Yay!
And I didn't buy it. It was given to me as a gift because I defended Hufflepuff. So we got our first ever fan gift today.
Awesome! Nice! Woo!
I mean, it was by a friend, but they also watched the show, and I didn't say, "Hey, I want a Hufflepuff tie." They just got one.
It
Nice.
counts.
Yeah, so let's go around. Callum, what are you dressed as?
I am just as something that's so much more terrifying in the night. Something that makes you very, very uncomfortable indeed. Something that stalks people all over the world at the nighttime. You know what I am. Say it. Say it out loud.
Zombie
The
Harry
IRS.
Potter.
The IRS.
No.
My ex-wife.
no,
The thoughts inside my head.
The knowledge of my own
No.
mortality.
No, please stop interrupting. I'm just a nerd who spends too much time indoors.
Oh.
Lame.
Gonna try and kill me with your D&D skills, bitch? Because that didn't work on me.
I'll kick your ass with my D&D skills, Will. Fuck Freddy Krueger. I'll come after you.
Didn't you support Freddy Krueger last year?
I think I did.
Hey,
It's been a whole year.
Yes, and the time is coming once again. Halloween.
Indeed. I can't show it again, sadly, but my costume was I'm Little Red Riding Hood, a bloody Little Red Riding Hood.
Big red driving hood.
hood.
Big red driving hoodie.
Yeah, I'm Little Red Riding Hood. I'm into hood.
Red Riding Hood in the hoodie. I don't need no lumberjack. I can take care of that wolf myself, Granny.
Fuck yeah. Am I even visible? Nope.
You're like a shadow. A shadow with
Daylight a
blood
few months
stains.
ago, and now it's just pure nighttime for you.
Welcome to Indiana, motherfucker.
Nice.
My goodness.
We've got a fabulous show for you tonight. Even though there are less people than usual, we got Will back here. Will, you have been here for a while now. We're gonna have to give you a parking spot.
That would be nice. I keep having to park on the lawn, so.
If it means anything, Callum just flies here.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was just asking about his broom insurance, his broomstick insurance.
Oh no, that's Ron's broom. Callum's the one with the wings.
Oh, okay.
That's
got
right.
it.
The wings of the Eagles of Scotland. That's how it works.
I got it.
And I drive the carriage of orphans.
All right. Yeah.
Orphans?
And
the orphan carriage.
Yeah. And here I was like a lame-o just pulling up in the Batmobile.
Yeah, loser.
Just coming out the back. Just
Look, it's okay. Here. Not all of us are show-offs, you know? Like, look. Some of us take the humble road. And I'm proud that you have chosen that road.
You just grapple hook it. But there's like, no, I'm not showing off. I'm just probably going to go just normal mundane day.
But with that,
yeah, let's go on with the show, shall we? The true terror.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So we've been doing the show weekly now. So yes. Honestly, there isn't a lot of news right now. Nothing too big is coming out recently. However, Callum, I'll remind you, think back to our Disney Plus episode. You interrupted me, and I said at the end, we'll find a time to do that. Well, guess what? We're going to finish the Disney Plus episode during the news section.
Oh, no.
Just as I feared.
He's ready.
We're going to finish. Now, the new shows that got announced, I guess we'll also do the Marvel Comic-Con stuff just because I think this will all be fast. But the new shows that got announced were Moon Knight, Miss Marvel. I see that Will knows who Moon Knight is.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
My friend Skylar is really into Moon Knight, too. Do you want to talk about it a bit?
First announce the other shows, and then I'll geek out over Moon Knight.
Well, okay, so I talked about all the ones that have already been established, like the Hawkeye show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and shit like that. But the new ones, the completely new ones, new entries into the MCU are Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk. And I think She-Hulk's going to be interesting. Because anyone who's read a comic, Hulk has some badass villains, and I hope we see a few of them in the She-Hulk show. That's hard to say. She-Hulk. She-Hulk show. She-Hulk show.
Or in the topic of Halloween, the Hulk going to hell or something like that.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
the show is about She-Hulk. She's a lawyer, so she is going to hell, but just not right now.
She's a lawyer.
I swear there has to be a Daredevil crossover there if she's going to be.
I agree.
She is in the comics. There has to be a Daredevil crossover.
I mean, the going theory is that Daredevil is going to pop up in Spider-Man 3, and he's going to be like defending Peter Parker, and She-Hulk is going to pop up as the prosecuting attorney.
Okay.
My goodness, this is like the Marvel version of Ace Attorney.
I mean, I'd like it.
Matt Murdock, Ace Attorney.
Objection! Spider-Man was wearing his mask. You can't confirm he's Peter Parker. Mysterio is the villain. Check out this drone. All right, chill, my man. I'm glad you learned the songs because I stream Phoenix Wright. But the other ones we never got to bring up was essentially talking about the Marvel movie lineup for Phase 4. So the first one to come out, the first one to come out is Black Widow. Black Widow is going to be the next Marvel movie to come out. Then is going to be the Eternals, which is a new one.
Sounds like a band.
Then is going to be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And that's another new guy, but The reason it's interesting is because the 10 rings is a reference to the real Mandarin. And it's confirmed the real Mandarin is going to be the villain of Shang-Chi.
Oh!
That final scene from the All Hail the King mini short is finally going to pay off after all these years.
Then is Doctor Strange 2, titled The Multiverse of Madness. And fun fact, Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, is going to be in that movie.
That's fitting. That's pretty fitting.
Things even more trippy.
Yeah. Then after that is the one that I think everyone is the most excited for. And granted, this is just the lineup from 2020 to 2020, meaning we only know what we're getting for the next 2 years. The last one, and this is everyone's favorite, is Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor is getting a 4th movie.
Right.
4th movie. That's going to be a crossover with Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, if it is, they have a lot of shit they got to put in that movie because they're bringing in Jane Foster Thor.
I mean, come on. It's going to be a crossover with a title like that.
They're bringing in Jane Foster Thor. They're bringing in Valkyrie, but Valkyrie is going to be finding a... Well, Valkyrie is the king of Asgard. She's got to find her queen. That's what Tessa Thompson said.
It's kind of going to be a no-dealer if Jeff Goldblum isn't going to be in it.
You're not going to see it if Jeff Goldblum ain't in it.
Joking, because Jeff Goldblum's been amazing.
Go ahead, Will.
I'm pretty sure Jeff Goldblum's character is dead, judging from that after-credits scene at the end of Ragnarok.
I mean, maybe not dead, but at the very least just severely beaten.
I don't think he's dead. I think they're too smart to kill off a character that funny.
Yeah. A pat on the back, everybody.
Although I would love to see how he got out of that. But along with that, Korg and Meek are supposed to be in the movies again.
Okay.
Beta Ray Bill is going to be in the movie.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, I forgot to talk about the Loki show. So theoretically, Loki might be in the movie. And we don't even know who the villain is. We know everything except the villain.
Yeah. I feel now would be a good time to bring up that I wasn't actually all that into Thor Ragnarok. I mean, I get it. The previous 2 Thor movies weren't the best, but I thought they were good. Like, they were good, but, had a lot of problems. So I heard, Thor Ragnarok was supposed to be, the best. It's like, okay, good. So hopefully they're going to take, everything that was good about the first 2 Thor movies and expand upon them and get rid of all the bad stuff. No, they, it doesn't even feel like a Thor movie, and it doesn't even feel like a Marvel movie. It feels like a DC fan's interpretation of what a Marvel movie is. How DC fans are always like, oh, Marvel is just a bunch of jokes. That's Ragnarok. That's Ragnarok. There's no jokes, it's all jokes, no emotion. Granted, there's a lot of funny jokes and a lot of really cool action set pieces, but it's I just don't really care about anything that's happening, and ergo the action just doesn't have that big of an effect on me because I don't really care, because Thor and the other characters don't really seem to care. They're just cracking jokes the entire time. And
I'm starting to lose interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because Endgame was just such a perfect finale, and it would be kind of a shame to spoil it. Although, Neil, you said recently in your interview with Ron that you love shows and movie franchises that just keep going and going and going so that you can just come back to them until the end. I've gotten to know you a bit more now. That's why you were so defensive about the Marvel Cinematic Universe keep going. Now I understand.
Well, first of all, Will, I have to agree. I do kind of agree with your idea that it's oh, this is what DC people think Marvel is. I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, I like Thor Ragnarok better than both the other Thor movies. So if this is what DC fans think Marvel is, I'm okay with having this with Thor.
Plus, Thor Ragnarok introduced Korg. That's worth a 5-star rating in itself.
Here's the thing, though. Okay. I've always said this. If I had the option, Thor Ragnarok or a Planet Hulk movie, I would always pick Planet Hulk. And for those of you who don't know, Planet Hulk is the story that introduced Korg and Meek. They weren't Thor characters. They're Hulk characters.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Hulk was also in Thor Ragnarok.
That's why they introduced them together.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they did kind of work Planet Hulk in there a bit.
A little, but I want to see the full Planet Hulk story.
All right.
And I wanted to be serious.
Well, at this point, it's too late for that. It is way too late for that.
And superheroes.
Hold on, I have another thing to say.
Come on! You've had enough of
You directly said something to me, and I have to respond to it. Where you were like, when you said to me, you like it when things keep going, I now have to address that and talk about that. You did this. So here's the thing. I do agree with that, but at the same time, one of the reasons I'm all about Marvel is because, first of all, you grow up watching the cartoons, you grow up reading the comic books, you grow up loving the characters, and now that everybody else loves them too, I don't want that to end. And also, quite frankly, I don't think it should end. Marvel is so beautiful that it has this big universe. If they can keep going and keep doing good movies, they should keep. Like, if Black Widow is good, they should keep going. My opinion is they should keep going until it's bad.
Okay. Speaking of keeping going, there's the fact that this is a Halloween special and the talk of superheroes. That's just reminded me about a few recent trends of mixing together horror and the superhero genres. There was stuff like Brightburn and stuff like the New Mutants, which was the X-Men children going through this horror orphanage or something like that.
That may or may not be dead. I don't even know if that movie is coming out. But before we continue,
because that trailer was fucking awesome.
Oh, it was a great trailer. But before we continue, happy Halloween, bitches.
Yeah, and actually, before we continue, I just really want to talk about Moon Knight. Can we please talk about Moon Knight?
Yes, we can talk about Marvel more. Let's piss off Callum.
I'm sorry, Callum. Actually, I absolutely have to talk about Moon Knight because this is...
By all means, go ahead.
This is a superhero that I and many other fans have wanted to see for a while. Like, he has had little to no representation outside the comics. Like, to the best of my knowledge, the only representation that Moon Knight has had outside the comics is like as a playable character in like a couple video games, and that's it. He's never appeared in any of the cartoons or any movie whatsoever, which is a shame because he is like such a fascinating character. Like, imagine Batman if he was like 10 times more fucked up in the head. That is Moon Knight right there. Nice. And just like the stuff they dig into with this character and the themes they explore just makes for a great show, especially in the same vein as, like, you know, we were just talking about before, like Daredevil and stuff like Jessica Jones. It could really fit into that mold, and I really can't wait for that. Oh my God, Neil, you're so beautiful. I just want to kiss you.
Anyways. Yeah. I have a friend whose like favorite superhero is Moon Knight. Well, one of them, because he loves Deadpool. And we were doing a Minecraft stream, and he just talks for hours about it. Yeah. So I know there's a lot of love for this character, Mark Spector. And I'm just ready for everybody to see him and see how cool he is. I personally, even though I read comics and stuff...
I really want to see this.
Yeah. But I personally think that it's time, and I'm so happy that people get to appreciate this. And please, dear God, don't cancel the Hawkeye show. All right, so now, happy Halloween, everybody. Today we are being spooky, not for one episode, but two. This is one of two Halloween specials for Reactaholics specifically. And if you look around, you'll probably find even more Halloween specials on this channel. We got a Minecraft Halloween special. I'm doing a circus theme thing in Phoenix right now. Ron's going to interview a ghost. Not really. We don't have a ghost.
Yeah. I mean,
Callum, if you would like to kill yourself, then we would have a ghost.
Hello, you got Freddy Krueger right here. Freddy Krueger's basically a ghost, so.
All right, Callum agreed. We get to kill him now. That's the rule.
Yay!
Hey, murder!
Hey! Anyway.
But with that, we have exclusively spooky topics for you today, and we can run the show a little longer than we usually do if we want to. We can just stay on here and talk as long as we want until Chris gets bored of us and then, murders us all. But for now, the show is ours.
I'll have you know that I have been doing my homework, and I have seen a few other horror movies as of lately. So I've been catching up. Even though I don't watch much horror movies, I have been as of yesterday and today, yes.
Well, actually, my topic has nothing to do with horror movies at all, so you're fine.
Oh, you bastard.
I mean, it's spooky themed. It's Halloween-y.
Okay.
So who wants to go first?
You can go first.
Will? Me? Deal?
Me? What?
Yeah, go.
You?
Go.
Me? Who?
Yeah,
You're not saying a name! Say a name, Will!
Say a name, Will!
Dr. Neil.
Me. Okay. So, my theme is, ladies and gents, we have seen a lot of crossovers, specifically with a very popular franchise, Scooby-Doo. We've seen Scooby-Doo, Batman, Brave and the Bold, which I think is excellent.
Oh, yeah.
We have seen Scooby-Doo team up with wrestlers. We've seen them team up with Kiss, which is weirdly trippy and kind of wonderful. We've seen Scooby-Doo do all kinds of shit. But I ask you, what horror character should Scooby-Doo and the gang go up against?
Oh my goodness.
And for the record, we live in a world where Scooby-Doo meets Supernatural exists. So if you want to make your movie rated R, I'll let you.
Oh
my goodness. Oh, that is such a brilliant idea.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I think I've got one. Are you ready for this?
Go ahead, Will.
All right, Will, you want to go?
Scooby-Doo meets 50 Shades of Grey.
No! Oh my gosh, no! Oh my god.
What do you think, Neil? Neil?
No. He's gone. The shock got to him so much that he left. Oh, no, here he is. There he is. That's right. No. Oh.
My face has been like that since you said it.
Oh, so
I
now
don't
you're
like
upset
it.
by a sex joke, Neil? Now you're upset by that sort of thing?
Callum, you watch your mouth or I'll let him argue for it. I'll let him give us the plot. I'm in control here, Callum. When it comes to sex jokes, I am your king.
Welcome to my world, female dog.
It's bitch. It's bitch.
I don't care, female dog. You can't take me. I'm in Scotland, you're in America.
I knock at your door and you're just like, someone's at the door. I kill you. Come off screen. I'm covered in more blood.
Yeah.
Do you have an actual pick, or are you just gonna disappoint me further, Will?
Further.
This is a horror themed episode, and the thought of Scooby-Doo.
That's not really horror as much as it is gross.
It's horrifying to me.
When you think about it.
I said a horror movie character. I did not say 50 Shades of Grey. So who specifically from 50 Shades of Grey is he dealing with?
Just the fact. The content of Scooby-Doo meets 50 Shades of Grey is horrifying to me. So,
Yeah, but you have to pick a character. from 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, in that case, screw it. You know what? This might actually be a good fit. Scooby-Doo meets the Wolfman. That might actually be a really good fit.
Fun fact, I'm pretty sure that's already a movie, but I'll listen to your pitch when it comes.
Wolfman.
Oh, yeah, Shaggy becomes a Wolfman. So okay, you can still do yours.
But you go on.
We're gonna do debates, so go ahead and give your pitch, Will.
Okay. So basically, okay. Actually, you know what? Change it. I think I'm gonna do Scooby-Doo meets the Phantom of the Opera.
I would fucking.
Oh, nice.
That's a good pick.
Yes.
Because think about it. It's like in a lot of Scooby-Doo episodes, it's always about trying to find out who the person dressed up in the monster costume is, so that they can basically do that with the Phantom of the Opera, and then they can it'll be a good thing the twist where they take off the mask and find out who the person really is, but then they take off the Phantom's mask and it's more horrifying than they could have ever possibly imagined.
Phantom is old man, grotesque guy.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. I'm not even kidding. As soon as you were like Scooby-Doo meets Phantom of the Opera, I just imagined Fred going, mystery. Well, listen to this. Listen, Callum, listen to mine. I literally thought of Fred singing. Fred is singing and he's just going, Scooby and Shaggy are bait. We'll give them snacks. Then we will have the net. They'll set the trap. Then we'll pull off his mask and see his face. The Phantom of the Opera is here. Scrappy's a disgrace.
Yes.
I couldn't think of a proper rhyme.
Have I redeemed myself from Scooby-Doo meets 50 Shades of Grey? Have I redeemed myself?
I don't know. That's a big hole. You're gonna. No, that's a big hole. Look, you made a good jump, but you're still in the hole.
Okay.
Callum, you got anything?
There's so many possibilities with this. I mean, I think Phantom of the Opera is an amazing idea, but I'll try to come up with my own subject, whatever that may be. Neil, you go next. I'm just still trying to think.
Right. So here's the thing. In all my experiences with horror movie characters and slasher characters, Phantom of the Opera is a good pick because I would like to see Scooby-Doo in a musical setting and specifically going after the Phantom of the Opera. But if I really think about it, I feel like there's a lot of forced things you could do. Like, you could have Scooby-Doo and the gang go after Jason Voorhees, but that just sort of feels like a gimmick. We need a horror movie that is a mystery. We need one where the Scooby Gang is needed. We need one where the killer is different every time. We need Ghostface.
Oh, there you go.
Just imagine Daphne or Velma picking up a phone and it goes, "Hello, Scooby Gang. What's your favorite case you've ever solved?"
That would be a really interesting idea, actually.
Because here's the thing, the Scream movies are literally just slasher film mystery movies. So throwing Scooby-Doo in there, it fits like a glove. And since Ghostface is different every time, we don't know who's under that mask. Like, I know who's under the Phantom's mask. It's a weird old dude. We don't know who Ghostface is going to be. And that's my opening argument. Go ahead, Callum.
There's so many I could pick from. I don't know. Freddy Krueger, the Halloween one would be quite good, but I think one that would probably be the most fun, I think, is Scooby-Doo and Ghostbusters.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
That'd be fun.
So you're specifically having them go after Gozer, and they're going to team up with the Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so pitch it. Pitch Scooby-Doo meets the Ghostbusters.
So the Mystery Gang are called to go off to New York, and perhaps some ghostly stuff goes on there. They obviously quick to investigate it, and then they think, okay, this is no ordinary event. Hey, dear Scoob, maybe these people could help us out. And they see a poster for the Ghostbusters. Then Fred says, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we see the Ghostbusters? I mean, like, that's what I just said, but okay.
I, Scoobert Scooby-Doo, support this choice. I am playing the role of Scooby-Doo in Callum's situation. Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Like, come on, Scoob. We gotta see these Ghostbusters. Huh.
Rut-row, Shaggy. Rut-row.
Jeez, one of them looks like a film star. Oh, I think I saw him in a film called Lost in Translation. He looks very familiar, Scoob.
Are you implying that Shaggy has seen Lost in Translation?
I don't know, I'm just making a joke relating to Bill Murray.
All right. Okay, so what would the plot be? What are some scenes we can expect from Scooby-Doo meets the Ghostbusters?
So, chaos ensues. Mystery Gang go off and investigate what's going on, what's causing all this, and then they team up with the Ghostbusters to catch the ghost wherever they find them.
Okay. I think that's kind of cool. All right, Now we have to make arguments. So the selection is the Phantom of the Opera, Ghostface, and a ghost featuring the Ghostbusters.
And not 50 Shades of Grey.
Not 50. Unfortunately, 50 Shades of Grey has been disqualified.
Okay.
I said you could go rated R, not in R17.
Got it.
All right, so who wants to go first in terms of the debate section? I'll do it if you guys don't want to.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Will. Don't raise your hand. We work on a system of demands. If I say, who wants this? You say, me, motherfucker. And then I'm like, okay, Will has the floor.
Don't you mean me, female dog?
You mean bitch, Callum?
I'm keeping clean on my
bitch before the end of the episode if it kills me. So anyway, again, I just really like the whole idea of a twist that, like, the Phantom of the Opera just works so well as a Scooby-Doo villain because, like, just like any other Scooby-Doo villain, like, unlike Ghostface, who's pretty much just like, knives and a mask and whatever, like, the Phantom of the Opera, like any classic Scooby-Doo villain, goes like the full 9 yards with a whole bunch of like special effects work and stuff, which to me that is like classic Scooby-Doo. And like I said before, it's a great twist on the Scooby-Doo formula where you take off the scary mask and it's just a normal guy, whereas you take off the Phantom's mask and his actual face is more terrifying than the mask itself, which would be a great thing. And I don't know, I just really like the idea. And you could have I guess Daphne take over the role of Christine and Fred take over the role of Raoul. So I think that would be.
Are you implying that Scooby-Doo reenacts Phantom of the Opera, or that they go to an opera and they happen to see the character of the Phantom of the Opera?
And then track him down. This matters for your debate. You got to pick one.
Reenact the Phantom of the Opera, because if they just happen to see the character, that would imply that the Phantom of the Opera, that they would already know the story, so they would already know who's under the mask, so it wouldn't be a surprise. But if they reenact the Phantom of the Opera, then they wouldn't know who's underneath the mask. So I mean,
okay.
Those of us who know the Phantom of the Opera would of course know what's underneath the mask. But the characters themselves.
Let me explain, Will. What I think Callum was asking is it a situation of they go into the opera house from Phantom of the Opera and they encounter the Phantom and try to figure out who it is? Or is it a situation like Muppet Christmas Carol where they're reenacting the story? Like it's the story of Phantom of the Opera, but with Scooby-Doo characters.
Yeah.
I guess sort of a little bit of both. Like they're basically living out the Phantom story, but at the same time, like trying to figure out, hey, who's this creepy Phantom guy who's stalking Daphne?
Okay, so
yeah,
like a modern day take on Phantom of the Opera,
Basically,
but with the Scooby-Doo gang.
And-
Okay, maybe.
And we find out that this whole time Daphne has been like an amazing opera singer, and we never knew until now.
whoa!
We've heard her sing before. I would argue we did know. I seen her up there with the Hex Girls. She was doing great.
Yeah, but that was rock and roll. This is opera.
Yeah, but you know, Daphne is multi-talented, and we just have to give her that.
All right.
I mean,
All right.
Freddie Mercury was a rock star, and he was quite an opera singer himself.
I mean, I'm not going to claim that any singer can be an opera singer, but Daphne could. All right, here's my argument. I like Phantom of the Opera, I do, but I know that story. Like, I don't need to see a reenactment of that with Scooby-Doo characters.
Like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, like, while I like Phantom of the Opera, and I think Scooby-Doo characters could only make it better, I still know that story. So I'd much rather have, like, specifically my story, where, you know, it's not a recreation of the Scream movies. No, the Ghostface killer is contacting the Scooby Gang and has set them as targets. And also, I know you said that, you wouldn't get anything new out of Ghostface. Well, I am bringing something new. Murder. There will be murder in my movie. There won't be any of that, we're trying to get like a fair, or this person went missing, but they're fine. No, people are going to die. Sort of like what happened in Supernatural meets Scooby-Doo. There is going to be death.
They will cease to desist. They will go to meet their maker. They will be
an ex-person. But, so, just back on my train of thought. I'm going to bring murder to the Scooby Gang, and I'm going to have a reason for Scooby and Shaggy to be scared. I am going to have them, like, have a friend they're visiting, and then that friend dies in, like, the first 20 minutes. And then the rest of the movie, it's a combination of them trying to solve the case and figure everything out, but it's also them going through a Scream movie where they're being hunted. It's sort of not doing a Scream movie and not doing a Scooby-Doo movie, but mashing the two together and bringing in the best of both worlds. We're going to have a scene where, let's say that Velma or Daphne has been watching a lot of horror movies lately, so maybe they could answer some of Ghostface's trivia. Fred, of course, is the trap expert. Maybe he outsmarts Ghostface here and there. But there's got to be a bunch of scenes where Ghostface actually gets to them. I specifically have a scene in my head of Shaggy walking while on the phone, just trying to find Scooby. And then Ghostface is like singing the Scooby-Doo theme. And then when he gets to the ICU part, he jumps out of a closet and tries to go after Shaggy. And with Scooby-Doo meets the Ghostbusters, I think that's a cool idea and all, but you're not giving me a lot. Like, what you described was they come together and they try to find a ghost. What else do they do? Hold on, I want to keep making my argument for now.
Okay, come on.
I also would argue that meeting the Ghostbusters, while it could be pretty cool, I feel like compared to a grim, like, still funny, still Scooby-Doo comedy, and we know it can work because we've seen, once again, Scooby-Doo meets Supernatural. We know that Scooby-Doo can do dark shit. And because of that, I think putting them in an actual slasher situation would be a perfect fit. And there are comic books called Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, which is really fucking dark, but it's one of the best things in the world.
Yeah, they're quite severe and obscure.
Really, really, really dark. Although I'll tell you this, it will make you like Scrappy-Doo.
Okay, now I gotta read these.
Okay. Some people have criticized Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, but you know what? Scrappy-Doo being a likable character, I'm sold. Anyway, as for Ghostbusters, now, I will admit, the Phantom of the Opera and Ghostface, these are both really exciting premises. Mine might sound a bit inferior compared to yours. But, Will, first of all, you got to avoid the fact that this might be a Scooby-Doo movie where they barely do anything for the most part. I've heard some fans criticize one or two Scooby-Doo movies for doing just that, stand around not doing anything much at all. And Neil, as exciting as running away from an actual murderer is, and yes, Scooby-Doo can handle dark stuff, but Ghostface, I think that's pushing it a little bit too far. Ghostbusters, I think we got the right combination here. We got the right amount of mystery to do. And Ghostbusters can get dark as well. I mean, you got demons, you got Zol, you got hell. I mean, that's quite dark. And you got.
I'm bringing blood. I offer you blood.
I offer you supernatural terror.
And the biggest of all, Melissa McCarthy.
All right, keep. Oh yeah, you didn't say which Ghostbusters. You didn't specify which.
Not the female ones. Not the female ones.
Oh, okay. Callum's a sexist.
I see what you did. You almost got me. I don't know. Maybe one of the Scooby Gang gets possessed by one of the dogs. I don't know. That would be quite intense. And Ghostbusters 2, as much as it got criticized, that had a few scary scenes in there as well, like the train scene and a few others. As much as it wasn't as good as the first one, there were a few other scary moments. But again, it doesn't go too far. It's something in it for everybody. There's something in it for the younger people, something in it for the older people. I think Ghostbusters has the right balance, not boring, not too extreme, just that right Goldilocks balance. You know what? I can compare the three of us to the three bears when Goldilocks goes to the house. Neil, yours is too cold. It's going a bit too far. And Will, yours is a bit too hot. People fancy that Phantom. But mine, the right spot. The right, warm, comfortable spot.
By hot, are you implying that sexual things will happen with the Phantom and Wills?
I don't know. Maybe I should have done it the other way around.
I thought we scrapped 50 Shades of Grey.
Shut up.
I thought.
I don't know.
Neil, clearly you have never seen Love Never Dies.
Okay, hold on. Will, what did you say?
Clearly you have never seen Love Never Dies, then.
Okay, Callum, what were you saying? Okay, so now we move in to the second stage of arguments. Since Will went first last time, I think I'll go first this time. So here's the thing, Callum, I agree that my idea is dark. There's going to be blood. There's going to be murder.
Far too dark.
But here's the thing. You know what might be darker than murder? Life crises about whether or not God exists. And guess what?
Geez.
That's in Scooby-Doo meets Supernatural. There is a scene where they discover that demons might be real, and because of that, Daphne has a midlife crisis where she's like, is there a God? Does that mean there are demons? Oh shit, does that mean there's a hell? What? Am I going to hell? And she starts flipping out. Yeah, this is completely real. Everybody go on Google, look it up. Daphne freaks out about religion. It's 100% real.
Does she actually say, oh shit?
She doesn't say, oh shit, but they do say, is there a hell?
Yeesh.
And also, in that episode, frickin' Shaggy breaks his arm. And they show a mutilated corpse. with a head cut off, arms cut off. So, all due respect, Scooby-Doo has already showed murder, buddy. I'm not giving you anything you haven't already got. And yes, I'm giving you it in a different way. I'm making it new. But if you go, and also it was just one dead body in Supernatural, if I recall right. But with Scream, this is something that is like, listen, Callum, what you're offering me is a very good sandwich. I like your sandwich. It's got cheese. It's got lettuce. It's a good sandwich. What you're offering me, Will, is a very nice burger. There's ketchup on this burger. It's been fried to the right temperature. It's great. What am I offering you, ladies and gentlemen? Chocolate and peanut butter. I am offering you something that should come together. A burger? Yeah, I love a burger. A sandwich? I love a sandwich. But chocolate and peanut butter. Scooby-Doo and Ghostface. The mystery solvers going against the mystery slasher villain. It's different every time. We don't know who's under that mask. I know who's under the Phantom's mask, and I know who the villain is in the Ghostbusters thing. Spoiler alert, it's a ghost.
Yeah, but we don't know what kind of ghost it is.
I will admit that it's still a thing. I don't know what kind of ghost, but at the same time, Scooby-Doo is about, at its core, mysteries being solved. And I don't think there is a mystery in yours. Maybe there is. Maybe one of the gang is possessed and we don't know which one. But
well, there's not much of a mystery in Phantom of the Opera. There can be potential for a mystery.
I mean, it is if you've never seen Phantom of the Opera, like any iteration of it.
I think Phantom of the Opera has been around so long now, though. Like, Will, first of all, this is a really good pick, and I'm sorry I have to argue against it. But Phantom of the Opera has been around so long now, I think people do know what's under that mask.
But
and I would love to hear the Scooby characters sing the soundtrack. I specifically want to hear. We hear like Scooby go like Zoinks Masquerade. But what I am offering you, ladies and gentlemen, I think Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo could be cool. I think Phantom of the Opera and Scooby-Doo could be cool. We know Ghostface versus the Scooby Gang is going to be cool. And also, maybe that's what the Scream saga needs. Maybe we need the Scooby Gang. And also, I know, Callum, that you're saying murder and shit, that's too far. But hear me out. It's the next step. They're already solving crimes. They're already solving mysteries. What do they need to solve next? What do detectives solve? Murder cases. Murder cases. The Scooby-Doo gang needs to grow up with the people who watched it. And for the most part, it has. But I'm simply saying, hey guys, listen. Here's another step you can take. You've already experimented with this. You've already done a bit of this in Supernatural meets Scooby-Doo. Again, I'll remind you, Daphne contemplates heaven and hell. But I think here, well, I'm not going to have that scene. But I think here it would be really cool to just see the Scooby Gang in actual peril. To see them have to solve a murder case. I think that's interesting. How would Velma work with forensics? That would be cool. I generally think that this is a good idea. And I think Ghostface is perfect to face off against Scooby-Doo. Go ahead, Will. I think you were trying to speak during my thing. So do you have things to say?
I apologize for that.
Oh, no, you don't need to apologize, bro. I am not offended.
All right. Well, I would like to remind you that there is actual murder in the Phantom of the Opera. So they could do that as well. Yep. We could work that in as well. And
it's not bloody, though.
We could work in blood.
But still murder.
We could work it in. We could work it in.
And that would work better for Scooby-Doo because there's nothing grotesque, but it's still quite brutal. I mean,
Callum,
he hangs.
wait your turn. Oh yeah, that's so much more tame. God forbid someone stabs somebody and blood come out. Let's tie ropes to their necks and push them off of ceilings. That's more tame. That's good for the kids.
And it can't just be that guy. We could also kill more people if you really want. Yeah,
sure. Kill the entire audience. I mean, it's up to you. You make your case.
We'll have like the chandelier come crashing down and kill like a whole bunch of audience members. How does that sound for you?
I mean, listen, I'm making the movie I want to see. You should make the movie you want to see.
Okay, well, in that case, I want to see a chandelier actually killing a bunch of people. That's what I want to see.
I can't argue with that. I mean, I would make the suggestion that maybe it's out of place in the Phantom of the Opera. I feel like that takes it, but this is your version, so who am I to judge?
Yeah. And also,
this Phantom of the Opera has a goddamn machine gun, and he is firing at people. He is taking out that audience. He is looking Scooby-Doo in the eye, and he is saying, "Say hello to my little friend," and he's killing all the bitches.
Okay, maybe not that far. Okay, another thing we have to remember is that the Andrew Lloyd Webber version of Phantom of the Opera is not the only version. There are literally tons more other versions out there, including the original book all the way from like 1910. We could even like do sort of like an adaptation of the Lon Chaney version from 1925, which is like a silent film. So we could have like a Scooby-Doo episode done as like a silent movie, and like, you know, you could have them like speaking like, you know, those like old silent movie speech bubbles, like you see Shaggy Mouth zoinks, and then that appears on like a title card, zoinks.
Well,
what?
You are trying to win, right? Are you pitching a silent film?
A silent Scooby-Doo episode.
Where they sing?
Like we could also do like Phantom of the Paradise, an adaptation of Phantom of the Paradise, the Brian De Palma version from the 70s. We could take this in so many different directions. It doesn't just have to be a straight up adaptation of the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical.
Yeah, wasn't there a sort of sequel to the Phantom of the Opera?
Shut up. No, there isn't one. It doesn't exist. It never did exist. And if you bring it up again, you're fired.
So I'm just saying, yeah, well, we can do like a straight up adaptation of Phantom of the Opera. It doesn't have to be like exactly like the way that we know it. We could do some things different and everything. So yeah, that's my closing argument.
All right. Callum, you now argue, and then Callum, at the end of your argument, goes straight into your final thoughts.
Okay, so Ghostbusters has so much creative potential to be an astounding Scooby-Doo movie. I mean, think about that. Creativity. That's one thing that Ghostbusters has advantage over all of your options combined. No matter which version you do, Ghostbusters is always going to be the more creative one because there's so many varieties of ghosts, there's a variety of situations they can get into. Are the ghosts funny? Are they scary? Are they going to be life-threatening? Are they going to be goofy? Is it going to be plenty of gags? Are they going to have a laugh? Is it going to be a children's joke? Is it going to be an adult joke? There's a wide variety. They keep the right balance. I mean, they say that Ghostbusters could never strike lightning twice, and perhaps lightning could strike again with Scooby-Doo and the Ghostbusters. So that in itself is a brilliant premise for Scooby-Doo, because Scooby-Doo also has a wide variety of creativity to it with all the monsters they come across. So putting them in Ghostbusters, it just fits so well together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of grown-up stuff in Ghostbusters too. Like, there's a ghost blowjob. There's a.
Wasn't that in the first movie?
Yeah. I'm not saying Ghostbusters 2. I'm saying the first one. I'm saying Ghostbusters has well.
Okay.
There's a ghost blowjob. There's that one scene where he's like, "Yes, sir, this man has no dick."
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Exactly right.
I would really hate it if Shaggy and that specific Ghostbuster, Bill Murray, stood next to each other, and he's just like, "This green shirt hippie has no dick."
No, it would
See,
be
that's
even
exactly
better.
my point.
No, it
That
would
could be
better.
a good way of
It would be
stepping up
better.
the ladder, because much like
Okay,
Supernatural,
Callum, you go first. Then we'll go to
Yeah.
Will.
Okay.
just exactly what you mentioned. Thank you for helping me, Neil, because these jokes, they could take it to the necessary step in the right direction, growing up with its audience, much like the Supernatural episode did, except in a way that makes sense for the age demographic.
You're saying that instead of showing murder, something they do in almost every Disney film ever, they should talk about dicks. That's more for children.
Exactly. That's more for children.
What? No.
I mean,
No, Callum.
They could show murder if they wanted to, but I mean, like I said, there's a wide variety of creativity to behold. I mean, there's been murder in Ghostbusters as well, so they could have that in there, and they could come across some ferocious evil demon from hell. They could. There's so much potential with Scooby-Doo and the Ghostbusters. I mean, Ghostbusters is already a wide variety. Add Scooby-Doo in there, the possibilities just open up. Whereas Phantom of the Opera and Ghostface, yeah, I mean, there's possibilities there, but they're not as open as Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters has so much potential for such a wide variety of story potential.
All right. And I also just wanted to point out real quick, saying having Peter Venkman say to Shaggy, "This man has no dick." I think personally, it would be even funnier if he said that about Fred.
Oh man.
I mean, it could be said to either.
Yeah, it would be even funnier if he said to Fred, because Fred is like the one who, always ends up with like Daphne or some other girl. So I think that'd be a little funnier.
Oh yeah. That would be absolutely fantastic.
All right, Callum, go into your final thought.
So, as I said before, this has the potential to be the biggest, most ambitious, most creative, most age-appropriate, as well as most grown-up, at the same time childish, and all-age, fun, entertaining, thrilling, supernatural, animated film, and it has just so much potential for so many things. And again, this is the very concept alone. Perhaps if this does become a thing, some people, who actually do take time to make good movies, could take time to develop the mystery. Okay, there's a mystery here. What could they solve? What could the overall bad guy look like? What are they going to come across? I think they should come across some kind of hellhound or something. But that's for the climax. But the mystery building up to it could build up so much atmosphere, as well as so much humor. There's so much potential. And that's what I have compared to both of you. Potential. This is just a mere tip of the iceberg compared to so many vast opportunities that this Scooby-Doo crossover has. I mean, who knows? Maybe it will have a sequel or something. Much like, hopefully, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something. But I'm going off topic. The point is,
there's Batman vs. Ninja
Ghostbusters. Yeah, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But
don't get off topic.
I have to find that now.
Don't get off topic.
I'm sorry, keep going.
Yes. So, much like that crossover, this also has so much potential because the two just mesh so well. And as for the other two, sure, it'll work well, but much like the WrestleMania, it's not going to mesh too well for long. I mean, it might be a cute little joke for a while, but after a while, just like WrestleMania, it just kind of gets old and tired quite fast. So you got to have something that people are going to come back to. With Phantom of the Opera, there's not much of a mystery. And I could say the same thing for Ghostface. I mean, sure, Ghostface is going to be a bit more grown up, and sure, it'll have a bit more intensity there. But
a bit more of a mystery.
I mean, sure, but Ghostbusters has more potential to have so much more of a mystery. Like, what if they could be clues as to where the next ghost could be, and who's doing what? Or, in fact, perhaps maybe some of the humans are behind this scheme, and they don't even know it, so they have to solve a mystery. So, whereas your mystery, Neil, is very restrictive. Who's Ghostface? Not much of a variety there. But this, like I said, variety, potential, creativity, perfect crossover. What do you two have to say to that?
Can I go next?
Well, you can go first. I'm going to destroy the shit out of him when it's my turn, though.
I already did the same to you two.
Oh, I'm ready. I have so many... Go ahead, Will.
Okay, you're talking about Phantom of the Opera not having a lot of potential. Like I said before, there have been like a bajillion different interpretations of Phantom of the Opera over there. There's even, I'm not joking, a Phantom of the Mall. Look that up. That is real. But yeah, so again, like, you know, it can't just be like, you know, an adaptation of the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. It could be an adaptation of, you know, all these different other versions that have come down the pipeline over the years, or they could just, you know, completely go off and do their own thing, whatever. And again, while I do love Ghostbusters and I do love the idea of Scooby and the gang actually fighting ghosts like that, thought sincerely gets a thrill out of me. And as much as like Neil has described, it would be a nice change of pace having Ghostface be a Scooby-Doo villain, all the new things that could bring to the table. That's all well and good, but if you want something that has a lot of potential, can get really dark, including murder, very gruesome murder, but at the same time still keep the essence of Scooby-Doo, we have the Phantom of the Opera right here. And again, like you've said, we all know who the Phantom is, but the whole point is that, and I mean, Scooby-Doo mysteries, usually like 90% of the time, it's pretty easy to figure out who's gonna be the monster. Usually
it for all ages.
Yeah, exactly. And also the thing is, like, the characters themselves don't know who the Phantom is. So that'll think, because, like, you know, like a lot of people, when Andrew Lloyd Webber's version came out, most people already knew the Phantom was deformed. So the shock doesn't come from like learning that the Phantom is deformed. The shock comes like not the shock. The interest comes from how the characters react to that and what they end up doing with that premise. And you know, so I think that could be something interesting. Like, how would the Scooby-Doo gang react to such an interesting and a tragic character? And like I said before, we could definitely bring some new stuff to the table with some darker, more adult themes. And did we lose Callum? Oh, no, he's still there. I'm sorry. But the Phantom, to me, is such a classic Scooby-Doo villain as well, with how he runs the full gamut with his special effects work and everything. So we could have such a perfect balance of bringing new stuff to the table while also bringing in something that feels like classic Scooby-Doo. And I rest my case. Neil, it's your turn.
Yep.
I muted myself.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
But you've both made very good arguments. I think like, personally, I think I'd be willing to see all of these movies. I would pay money to own them all. But I think we have to argue which one is the best. And personally, in my opinion, I think the Scooby-Doo versus Ghostface is the best one. Because here's the thing. I know that you were saying, Callum, you've restricted yourself. The only mystery is why, who is Ghost? That's not the only mystery I pose. Because if you know the Scream movies, there's usually more than one Ghostface. So it's who is the team Ghostfaces, but also why are they doing what they're doing? Why are they specifically going after the Scooby Gang? What's their motivation? There's a bunch to solve. I think that, and also one of the things most well known about the Scream franchise is its meta humor. And Scooby-Doo could use some meta humor. But at the same time, Scream does it in a fashion where it also is like playing to itself. Like Scream 4, which is my favorite of the Scream movies, has so much meta stuff in it that it almost breaks the fourth wall, but at the same time, you still take it seriously and you understand the logic. There's a lot to go into this. And frankly, when I look at Scooby-Doo meets the Ghostbusters, I think that's a decent idea. But here's the thing. I would watch a Ghostbusters movie and I would see exactly what I would get from what you're describing from a Scooby-Doo meets Ghostbusters movie. It's them going after a ghost together and they got to figure out how to stop the ghost. I think that we could get that from just Ghostbusters. With mine, it's this situation of there's a whole new level to it because instead of just victims for Ghostface to go after, it's our childhood icons, the Scooby Gang. And you know what? I know the argument has been brought up like, oh, well, if we show murder and stuff, it's overstepping. But Callum, I was going to bring this up in my final thoughts, but you did it for me. There was a crossover a little bit ago called Batman Meets the Ninja Turtles. Both of these have had goofy incarnations in their pasts. But yet here, they do show blood. They show murder. And it is cool action scenes. And I can take it. If I were a kid, I think I could take it.
That's different from Scooby-Doo.
Are you sure about that? Look at the Adam West Batman. I can't see him killing anybody. Look at the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. I can't see them killing anybody. This is a different version. And because of that, I am saying that this version of the Scooby Gang is a different version. Look at Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. There is murder out the wazoo in that. I'm not saying spoilers because it's so fucking good, but my God, they do some fucked up shit. I'm just saying we can't just say, oh, well, it's too adult for kids as the argument. Because while I think there is a solid case there that, yeah, there would be blood, yeah, there would be gore, I think there's also a solid case of, well, Scooby-Doo needs this next because they're detectives. Why haven't they solved a murder case? That's Detective 101. Okay, it's not actually Detective 101, but any detective drama you see, they're solving a murder case. There isn't one that's going to be, oh, this person lost their bike. We got to find their bike.
Rangers. Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
I said drama. I said drama. I said drama. With Phantom of the Opera, I definitely think there's a lot to like, but in the end, I think it comes down to just like there isn't a lot you can do with this formula that hasn't been done. Like we've seen the Phantom of the Opera so many times, as you brought up yourself. I'm not sure how adding Scooby-Doo changes things. Like, obviously, they would be trying to solve the mystery and dig deeper into who the Phantom is. But I don't know. I think that takes out some of the mysterious and some of the tragedy of it. Like, especially if, like you were saying, if he does kill more people, like, the Phantom is someone you're supposed to feel bad for. If he's just, like, cutting down a chandelier on somebody, I don't know if I'm gonna feel bad for him.
All I'm saying is I find it a little unrealistic that all the times that the Phantom has cut down a chandelier, there's been no collateral damage in terms of human lives.
Wasn't the idea of the show that the chandelier goes down, but not all the way down? Because they actually do that in the show if you ever go there. It just
As someone who has seen it live, I can tell you the chandelier, when it goes down, it looks really dope, but it doesn't go all the way down. I don't think it would kill people.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like,
but this is Will's version, so it can kill the fuck out of people if he wants it to.
Yeah, but here's the whole thing. Of course, like when you're actually watching the show, the chandelier's not going to come all the way down because that's going to endanger people's lives. But I've always interpreted it as we're supposed to take it as in like the actual like the play's actual universe, the chandelier does come all the way down. Just you can't actually show that to the audience because then you're putting actual human lives in danger.
Oh, I know. That's very possible. I don't think that's what happened in the movie, though. Like, I don't know. I guess it's up to debate. Just to finish my final thoughts, I think that Scooby-Doo has dabbled in darkness before, and you know what? They need to solve a murder case. And who better for them to go up against than Mr. Mystery himself? There's so much you can do with this idea. It's Ghostface versus Scooby-Doo. I shouldn't even have to explain why that is awesome. But it's awesome because
it is awesome.
All right. So just my final thoughts on it are this. With Ghostbusters, I think there's a story to be told there, but I don't necessarily know what the Scooby Gang could add that isn't already there. With Phantom of the Opera, I think that, well, having the Scooby Gang go up against the Phantom of the Opera, doing this reenactment thing that you're saying, I don't know if that's the route I would take. And also, I just think that there isn't a big mystery here. With Ghostface, it's just like it writes itself. It's great. It's marketable. And this darker tone is really what we need. We need to feel for these characters. We need to fear for these characters. We need to want them to get out of this. And speaking as someone who has seen the Supernatural thing and has read frickin' Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, I feared for them. And I cared about them more. And the story was better because of it. So I'm not going to say that in any way my way is the best, but I think if someone said one of these is getting made, make your case. The one I would want to get made more than anything is Ghostface versus Scooby-Doo, because I think that's going to be great.
I'll have that my way.
Chris, if you heard us, you can share your opinions, and we will declare that person the winner.
He hasn't been listening, and he's just going to judge us based on the weird titles.
If he hasn't been listening, we'll let the audience decide. If he hasn't been listening, we'll let the audience decide.
We're not doing this live.
I know we're not doing it live. We'll talk about it in the next Halloween special, because we're doing another one next week.
In the comments.
Do it. Right, yeah.
So yeah, people just comment.
People in the comments, vote. What did you think was the best one?
Phantom of the Opera, Ghostface, or Ghostbusters? You decide. Oops.
They're all awesome. There's really no wrong answers here. So I promise I won't be that offended if you don't choose Phantom. I mean, I will love you 10 times more if you do choose Phantom, but if you don't, I will understand, because all of these
I'm just saying, if I were you, man, I would have pitched it as like a live action Broadway show, and I would have had it been like just the events of Phantom of the Opera are happening and Scooby and the gang are there and they're going to try to solve it. Like, not a reenactment.
Oh, not a reenactment, right, yeah.
But let's move on to the next topic. Does anybody have one? We've gotten the debate out of the way.
That's
yeah,
true.
Debate, but yeah. Yeah, very true.
Go ahead.
Were you just saying?
Okay, so I have an interesting idea, seeing how this is horror themed. Sometimes certain cliches or topics in horror movies can get old, but then sometimes you'll just come across something that you think, genius. This has so much genius potential for a horror movie. So, out of all the horror movies, whether short or feature length, that you've seen, What, in your opinion, what is the most genius premise for a horror movie you've heard?
I mean,
Genius.
I hate to bring this up again because we talked about it just a little while ago.
It has to be a horror movie that already exists. It's not something that you made up. It's from another horror movie that you thought, wow, that was a brilliant.
I know. I talked about this a little bit ago. I think one of just where I was like, wow, that's so fucking original was Monster House. Specifically, literally, it's a monster house. Like, we have heard of haunted houses before. We have seen haunted houses. But you go in this living goddamn house. You look around, and it has anatomy. It has a uvula. It has eyes. It has a heart. It has arms at one point and turns into a weird pufferfish thing that looks dope. Monster House for me was this movie where I was like, I'm just going to go see an animated movie and I think it's going to be fun. I'll watch it at my drive-in. But my Lord, it was scary at times. It was serious. And I'm going to go back to it every Halloween. It was so original that I can't let it go.
That really is good.
Originality like that needs to be rewarded.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
All right. There's a couple premises for like classic horror movies that I just look back and I think, man, that's such a brilliant idea. First one, the guy who I'm dressed up as, Freddy Krueger. Just the idea of a horror movie villain who stalks you in your dreams, in your sleep. That is just an insanely brilliant idea for two reasons. One, because, I mean, our biggest fear when we watch a horror movie, especially, like, you know, once we are aware that, like, you know, these horror movie characters are not real and they can't harm us, the number one place we are the most afraid they'll haunt us is in our dreams. So, and to some extent, your dreams are supposed to be the one place where you're kind of safe in a way. So, like, the fact that you can't really fall asleep, which sleep is something that all humans
the human body needs this shit.
Oh, exactly. Like, I think like my college psychology professor even told me that the most effective way to torture a person is by depriving them of sleep. It is that important. So just
watch that one episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender so we can prove our point. Yeah,
I love that episode. But go on. It's not Avatar talks.
Yeah. So again, the fact that you need sleep to live, and you know your dreams are supposed to be the number one place where you're the most secure. Having someone stalk you in your dreams is an insanely brilliant concept. And on top of that, the fact that a lot of these movies take place in a dream world just leads to so many creative ideas. Like, even some of the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movies are still enjoyable to watch just because of how creative they are. Like, Freddy's Dead, I don't think is a very good movie at all, but it's still enjoyable to watch just because of how creative they get with the visuals and everything. So yeah, that's one. Also, another horror movie premise that I think is brilliant is the original Psycho, both in terms of, like, you know, the context of past horror movie villains, like the ones that came before Psycho and the ones that came out after Psycho. So before Psycho, it was so uncommon to see just like a human being be the main antagonist in a horror movie. Like, you know, you mostly had like vampires, werewolves, aliens, mummies. Usually when you did have just like a normal person be a horror movie villain, it was usually someone like the Phantom of the Opera, where they were so deformed they didn't even look human. They looked more like a monster. But Norman Bates, he was just a completely normal looking guy. You would like, yeah, he seems a bit off, but you would never guess that he is a psychopathic killer. And even when you put him in the context of, like, you know, horror movie villains that have come out after him. Characters like Leatherface, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, who are like these big hulking brutes. Whereas Norman Bates, he's like skinnier than me.
harm a fly.
Yeah, or like even like Freddy Krueger or Hannibal Lecter, like they just ooze creepiness. Whereas Norman Bates is kind of like the boy next door. Again, you would never suspect him of being a murderer. So yeah, just that whole thing.
Wait. That's subjective, Will. You don't know my neighbor.
Okay.
My neighbor just constantly is looking out the window, and he has a little like draw board, one of those boards where you had the marker and you have the eraser, and he just writes, "I'm gonna eat your children, Neil," and stuff like that.
Okay, but that's not what I'm
giving
talking.
it out there. He holds a knife and looks at me. Well, you were like the boy next door. The boy next door for me. I'd believe it if he killed me one day. One day I wake up as a ghost and I'll be like, "Oh, Eric." And then I'll look over at my neighbor's house. There's my body. My head's no longer attached, and he's eating my foot. And I'm just there floating, waiting for you guys, Will and Callum, to come avenge me. So I'm just being a ghost for a little bit, just chilling.
Oh, that's the worst incident ever since half of the Sand People got destroyed.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Callum, you got
R.I.P.
a shot now. You just mentioned a Disney thing.
Oh yeah, thank you.
You hurt yourself.
Anyway, are you done, Will?
Were you still going, Will? Were you still going? Because if not, I actually thought of another one.
I'm pretty much done. Okay. Go
I want to bring this up because I love this premise, but the movie is shit.
Okay.
So I don't know if anyone has heard of the movie Devil. But
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the elevator one.
It has this really freaking cool premise where there's this hotel. It's not even a hotel. It's a building. There are people in this elevator. They're all stuck in it. And then they're told, "Hey, one of you in that elevator is a murderer." And the power is going off and out where they have a chance to kill people. And it's really ruined by the fact that there's a supernatural element to it. Like, this would make such an interesting, like, claustrophobic mystery. And it's just so unfortunate that they wasted such a cool opportunity.
I think the supernatural element works. I think it's the execution.
I think it's a bad movie.
Yeah, it was a bad movie. I mean,
Listen,
I think the supernatural element would have worked fine, but
here's
it was
the
just
issue.
So dumb. I mean,
here's the issue, Callum, with the supernatural element.
Listen to Neil. Listen to Neil.
Here's the issue with the supernatural element. Who's the killer, Callum?
Oh yeah, the granny.
Who's the killer? Who in the movie called Devil is the killer? Now I'll give you a hint. Here. It's one of the people in these elevators. Also, the movie is called Devil. Who's the killer? It's the devil. We know who the killer is. There's no mystery. It just ruins itself.
Okay, so if they change the title or change the subject matter, but okay, I see your point. Yeah.
I don't see the reason for why there needed to be supernatural elements. You have this, like, okay, you have them. I guess if you do cool stuff with it, then I guess it's cool. But they didn't do cool stuff with it, and also,
so dumb.
And the freaking like thing, it's already perfect. You don't need to add supernatural. Just do it with, like, there's an insane person in there, like a Joker-like person who can pretend he's sane. And then when he's finally discovered, we get to see him break. It would be so cool. Yeah, we can call it a devilish person. That's the new movie. One of these people is devilish, but we're not going to reveal who in the title because we're not idiots.
For the fact of that one guard who, I kid you not, those who have not seen the movie, he literally flips a piece of jelly toast to find out whether the devil is present or not. I am not making this up.
That's how he figures it out. This is real, actually. He's like, "Oh, I think the devil's here," Give me some toast with jelly on it.
Yeah. Also, I like to point out that of all supernatural things, they chose the devil. Like, why does the devil care so much about these people individually that he feels the need to leave hell? I mean, I feel like there's, more important things the devil could be doing than just bother with these random schmucks.
I mean, I'm not saying if the movie was called Chupacabra, it would have been better. But I would have been a little more interested to see how a Chupacabra is going to kill these people in the elevator.
Chupacabra, like the one from Scooby-Doo and Mexico. But if you people want more insight into why Devil is such a stupid movie, go watch Nostalgia Critic's review of it. I think that sums it up quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of, ever since that whole stuff about him came out, I've kind of tried to distance myself from Nostalgia Critic, but that is a good
try to not to talk too much about the controversy. They're kind of stupid.
He's got a good, like, I'm not, like, we don't bring up controversy here a lot. Actually, we do, but we always try not to. But, I've always viewed separate art from the artist. So that's kind of my view.
But it's like, a lot of it is like, okay, some of these reviews aren't even that good, especially like all his.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
I don't always agree with it.
I will have an hour-long conversation with you about the Nostalgia Critic after the show, but for now, we gotta focus.
Yeah. Let me talk about
what are your picks?
My pick. It was a film that I finally got the chance to see. I should have saw it in cinemas, but I'm kind of a wuss because I usually don't go to see horror movies. But you know what? I had to do my homework. Yeah, I know. I did my homework and I purchased this film because I thought the premise of it was absolutely genius. There's practically no other film like it, and for filmmaking, from a filmmaking perspective, it's a great example on excuse of doing visual storytelling, because when you're a low-budget filmmaker, one of the things you always have to master, since you have little to no standards, is visual storytelling. If you can tell a good story visually, then that's what makes you a master filmmaker. This film that I'm referring to is A Quiet Place. This is a genius premise. Stay silent. That's all you need. I mean, don't make a noise or else these monsters are going to snatch you and eat you. That is so simple, and yet they have so much intensity throughout the entire movie just through this one premise. I was on the edge of my seat and I absolutely adored it. It just got really intense, whether it be a little child just foolishly playing with a toy rocket, mild spoilers, or accidentally making some noises, or it's pretty intense. They have to communicate with sign language. You can see the expressions and other things. There's a few other things that you see through the visual storytelling, like them saying a prayer, except they can't say it. They just hold hands, close their eyes, or we have to find out that she's pregnant. Okay, just simply show her pregnant belly. That's all you need to know to introduce that conflict. It's a genius premise. Just be quiet or else. That's a genius premise for a horror movie, and I absolutely loved Quiet Place for that reason alone. Yeah,
I agree. Quiet Place is very, very good.
Yeah.
Also, just because I feel like the chat's gonna kill us if we don't mention it, and we need to mention it because it's one of the best horror movies ever made. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay, I should mention. I should mention that if we're gonna say brilliant premise, I should bring up that John Carpenter was not the one who came up with that premise.
Oh, I know, but he
made the premise
it
better. But
whoever came up with The Thing the first time, wrote the book, did the original movie, whatever. There you go.
Yeah.
But he really homed in on it, and he focused more on the people. So I'm still going to give John Carpenter props because he focused more on the human aspect of it.
Focus more on the people, yeah, and not showing the monster too much.
But the good thing is, it did show it, and it was great. Just go watch The Thing. I don't like talking about it. Go watch The Thing.
Go watch that thing.
I don't like talking about it because I'm always like, why am I talking about this? Go watch it, you spaz.
Yeah. And please also see the original. It's not as good as the remake, but it's still worth a watch, in my opinion.
Speaking of your opinion, Mr. Darth Potter, I believe it's your topic.
Oh, my topic. Okay. So, just because a movie is not a horror movie doesn't mean it can't have some terrifying scenes in it. So I wanted to know what movie or individual scene/scenes from a movie has terrified you despite it not being a horror movie.
Ooh.
Can I just say the entire movie of Meet the Feebles? Not even kidding. Like, I was always like, oh, what do you mean that this show is like killing your childhood or whatever? But then I saw Meet the Feebles and now I get it. Yeah. Like, it's just like, no. Stop hurting the Muppets.
So basically, the most scary moment in a non-scary movie. I
mean, I'm trying to think about it.
Yeah,
there's some freaky scenes.
Yeah.
Do you have a pick for this, Will? Because we're gonna think about it while you go.
Yeah.
I have a couple ones. First off is spoilers right now for anyone who has not seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Nazi
yeah,
scene.
I see where you're going with this.
That scene, the way they did the Nazis, that was straight out of an Evil Dead movie. Like, holy crap! Like, first time I watched it when I was like 10 years old, my mother covered my eyes during that scene, and I kind of poked a little bit, like the little gaps in her fingers, and what little I saw was like, holy crap! And even now, when I watch it as an adult, it's like, holy shit, this is kind of stuff. And now that I think about it, actually, almost the entire, like, once they get into the temple, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is pretty terrifying, if I'm going to be honest. Okay. Like, that, I feel like Temple of Doom is, like, the most secretly low-key horror movie ever. Just, like, the more I think about it, it's like, oh my god. Another thing is Disney's... I'm sorry, Callum. I swear this was not intentional. Disney's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. The Headless Horseman used to scare the shit out of me. Holy... That laugh haunted my nightmares forever. And yeah, still, I mean, that one I'm not so scared of anymore, but it's definitely
scared of the Headless Horseman.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty intense for little kids. And the fact that, again, spoilers for those who haven't seen it, the fact that Ichabod potentially dies at the end, that is just wow. Like, he doesn't get a happy ending. Like, even if he somehow survived, which I highly doubt he did, there's still the fact that he didn't really win in the end. He didn't get the girl. He was forced to leave town or whatever.
Yeah. I agree. But, Callum, I'm sorry. My pick is literally every Disney movie ever. Like, think about it. Specifically the original 2Ds. Like, every Disney movie ever has that one scene. Like,
yeah, that's made to scare the children, yeah.
The one that I'll bring up specifically is Clayton's death from Tarzan, where he's like hung by the vines, and you see the shadow of it happening and him fighting it, and then you just hear, and I'm like, oh my god! There's also Hellfire, sung by Frollo.
Ron has mentioned that in the past. That is just epic.
When Ursula is impaled by a boat, Gaston falling to his death.
Oh yeah.
Protect me, Maria. Sorry.
And of course, if I could sing to you for a little bit, Bambi's mom, all her brains are gone.
Oh, and
that was scary,
also,
just sad.
Yeah. Let us not forget that Disney also showed their own depiction of hell with Night on Bald Mountain.
Yeah.
That scared me. That terrified me when I saw it. Yeah. And I was a teenager when I first saw it, and it terrified me.
Yeah.
Disney. You okay?
Fun fact about that scene, for the live action reference model for Chernabog, they actually got classic Dracula actor Bela Lugosi to be the live action reference model for Chernabog. So technically Bela Lugosi was in a Disney movie, technically.
Oh.
Which I think is
cool. I guess if I have to pick non-Disney stuff. I mean, what? Don Bluth? Oh, I'm not gonna go for Don Bluth. I mean, he has scenes, but I feel like that I've already said Disney.
Yeah, Don Bluth kind of, technically speaking, went darker with his movies, but go
on. There's like this one scene so in Batman The Dark Knight, there's just this one scene where, first of all, just almost every scene with Joker is unintentionally terrifying. But I'll talk about this one, because I think this scene wasn't meant to be terrifying for anybody, but it was terrifying for me. It's when he's like convincing Harvey to like sort of go on a vengeance spree. Just watching that scene of him explaining, like, I'm a dog catching tires. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one. I just want to create chaos. And him slowly turn Harvey to that. And you can see like the cogs in Harvey's head turning as he's slowly siding with the Joker.
Say a truckload of soldiers get blown to smithereens. Nobody panics because it's all part of the plan. But if I tell them
one measly person to die and everybody,
everyone loses their minds.
But it's specifically watching him take this man who hates him and manipulate the shit out of him. That scares the fuck out of me. Like, I know it doesn't scare other people, but just seeing it happen. Callum.
Let him finish.
You're good, man. You're good. I love you. But it's just the fact that seeing him take this man who, we know he's going to become Two-Face, but just how he's so fucked up, so Joker, and so wonderfully evil that it scared me. It scared me because that is real. People can fucking do that to people, and that's what scared me.
Yeah. I would also, Neil, you brought up The Dark Knight. Thinking about it, Batman Returns, because I actually rewatched that recently, and that entire movie, I've heard like a lot of people say, the first Batman movie, Tim Burton was really restrained. Batman Returns is more of actually Tim Burton's Batman. Having now just rewatched that, I can fully agree. Like Tim Burton, Tim Burton just did not hold back on that at all. We have a lot of scenes with Catwoman are pretty disturbing. Penguin bites a guy's nose off, and it's pretty gruesome. Just like Penguin in general is pretty monstrous. We have Christopher Walken at arguably his creepiest performance, or most disturbing performance since The Deer Hunter. And just all this really dark and fucked up imagery. It's Batman Returns is also probably a very low-key horror film.
I mean, it's definitely got some freaky visuals. I could definitely see people watching it around Halloween. Yeah. Which is weird, because doesn't it take place close to Christmas?
It does.
It's funny. Callum, do you have any picks?
It's hard to tell. I mean, moments that scared me, nothing could top Night on Bald Mountain for me. That is just the scariest moment for me ever. and it's not even a horror movie, it's an artistic animation movie, but my goodness, they really depict hell and all of its tortures and abominations, and it's just so discomforting. It's especially with the music, and it just builds, and it's so grotesque, and it's scary. It still kind of scares me. They just got the right combination, and
Definitely freaky.
nothing can top it. It's freaky, and to the point where the church bells ring in I Love You, Maria. I am relieved, which is actually the whole point of that animated short. So well done, Disney. You entertained me, and you frightened me. Yeah. I suppose if I have to mention something else, this one is not what I find necessarily scary, but like, what on earth? This is in the new Netflix show, The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, which is fantastic. So basically, this moment that I'm talking about is basically the main villains, the Skeksis, these vulture demon men. The main hero gets away with vital information, and the Emperor needs someone to punish for all this information being exploited. They're going to put the blame on the Chamberlain, the one who keeps going, and yes, that exactly. But with him being so cunning, he uses his silver tongue to make it seem like the scientist, voiced by Mark Hamill, did it. And Chamberlain in the show is voiced by Simon Pegg, of all people, by the way, just so you know.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. And the Chamberlain completely tricks everybody, just making it seem like the scientist was to blame. And then the Emperor says, right, he needs a more thorough punishment. Then Chamberlain says, yes, I do agree, but might I recommend the Peeper Beetle? And then the scientist is begging, no, please! And then you see this getting tortured. So, Wicker Man style, they strap him to a chair, they cage his head, and then they had this purposefully starved, aforementioned Peeper Beetle enter into the cage, and he has this fondness for soft, fleshy meat. And if you've seen the original Dark Crystal, you notice that the scientist always had this weird cybernetic eye thing. So, guess what? In this scene, the spider crawls up to its head, and with the amazing cinematography, we go close up to the scientist Skeksis' head and near its eye, and then just desperately closing his eye, and then the spider just opens its eye. He's trying hard just to keep it shut, and then the last thing you see in the episode is his perspective on the beetle eating his eye. And that's not as scary.
That made
as
my
other things,
spine
but-
tingle.
Exactly.
That made things tingle.
I got goosebumps now.
That sounded freaky. Like, just when you were like, it shows his point of view of it getting eaten, man. I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to see that. That's not
Sound
good.
like counting non-flashbacks.
And this is a PG, technically family-friendly show, mind you. So take it as you will.
So, good topic, Will. Good topic.
Thank you.
So this next topic, this is a little bit different from what we do here at Reactaholics usually. This topic was given to me during a live stream.
Ooh.
And it's kind of different. But it does technically have something to do with spooky stuff, and it technically has something to do with movies, so I'm going to let it go. And the answer is, which one of us would survive the longest in a slasher movie? And you have to pick which one of us would, and you don't have to pick yourself. I think we'll have a short debate, but not a big debate. Well, I know you, Callum. You know me, and Will is like this wild card, but he likes theme parks. We know that.
Right.
True.
So, Neil, you're a very knowledgeable person. I'm sure you could think on your toes with this kind of situation. You're really interested in mysteries, so that's a good advantage to have.
Yeah, I could beat the shit out of Ghostface. Just saying, we don't need the Scooby game if I'm going after him.
Me and Neil are more or less the same height. Fun fact: we're about 6'5" or so.
Oh wow!
And,
No, we aren't. I'm not 6 foot. You're much taller than me.
Oh, I am. Oh, I thought we were.
I am
height.
almost 6 foot.
Oh, right. Oh, I am
Fine.
much taller than you.
You are the
6 foot.
tallest person in Reactaholics.
Yes. So I am. Right. So, I'm not bragging, but I'm just thought I'd just get this information out there. I'm quite fit and healthy. I've got what you would describe as a muscularly skinny, like Spider-Man. So people keep describing different types of muscles, like bulky muscly or skinny muscly. I'm skinny muscly, if that makes sense.
I'm fat strong.
Yeah.
So even though I'm fat, I'm a strong.
Yeah. So my physique is like Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop or something. And I'm quite good with long distance running. I suppose if push comes to shove, I can think on my toes, and in these situations, this aspect could either be an advantage or a disadvantage. I can get anxious pretty easily, so depending on the situation, it could either help me think on my toes and be desperate, or
Before we continue, let's as a group decide what slasher movie are we in, which monster is trying to kill us, because I think the argument will I think we need to figure that out first, because if we're going against Freddy Krueger, everything Callum just described doesn't matter. But if we're going against like Jason Voorhees, running would help.
Yeah.
But to what extent?
Who should we go? You know what? Let's make it simple. Let's say Chucky is trying to kill us.
Okay.
Okay.
Just get some firecrackers. We're good.
I mean, it could be
just
Chucky.
I'll probably need to go to bed soon. So let's just make this reasonably quick. Or I
This
might
can
just
be the
read
last
this
topic.
Okay.
This can be the last topic. Just stick till the end. All right. So, Callum, you've already talked about physical attributes. You know what? Let's go with someone generic. That way we can argue, I feel like if we pick Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, we're arguing for a ton of slashers.
Pretty much, we are.
So let's go with Jason Voorhees. Let's say we're at Camp Crystal Lake together, and we had to survive Jason Voorhees.
Oh,
This
man.
is starting to sound like a D&D game.
Well, we're not playing D&D.
I know. I'm just saying it sounds like one.
Okay.
I'm just getting facts.
Here are my strengths. I'm a big fan of Friday the 13th. I would be the character from Scream who knows all the plot twists. I would be ready. I feel like that's one of my strengths. My biggest weakness, I sprained my ankle a few months ago. It didn't heal right. And right now, I cannot run.
Will,
And I'm kind of fat, so you couldn't carry me. But God, I would make Callum try.
Yeah, I could try. I could give it a try. I'd be willing to give.
I'm just imagining me in your arms, and I'm like, Callum, he's back there with the machete. Keep running, and I'm eating a candy bar. Callum, keep going. No, it's okay, Callum. You're doing great. We're going real fast. Callum, if you are gonna fall in the direction of Jason, and I'll just sort of briskly walk away. He already got Will.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No, wait.
Oh, and we're in the woods. Maybe we can find Ron's cabin. We're in the woods in Camp Crystal Lake. We can find Ron's cabin. We can hide from Funko Pops and Jason. We'll be safe.
Yes.
The Funko Pop of Jason.
Yes.
I like to believe Ron just comes out Ash Williams style with a machine gun, popping off bullets into Jason Voorhees, but then Jason throws a Funko Pop at him, and it goes through Ron's eye, and he's just like, well, that was real. And then he falls down. His last words are, "You jabroni!" And he dies. And then Callum has to carry me and run away as we just let Ron die.
Yeah.
If you don't animate this, you can't be my friend anymore, Callum.
There are so many things I used to animate. It takes a long time to do animation. You try animating one of these. In fact, I should
Sure, I
encourage
will.
Chris
I'll draw a stick figure and be like, "Hi, Callum, it's me, Neil." And I'll be like, "Hi, Neil, it's me, Callum."
It's just
Oh, no, it's our friend, Will. "Hi, guys, it's me, Will." You have to include this in the animation. You have to have like me with stick figure papers. This has to be part of it. For those of you currently watching the animation, how good did he do, right? He did pretty good.
I'm afraid to see how I'm pretty afraid to see how I would look in animated form.
You're a stick figure.
Okay.
You're
Don't worry, Will.
You're a stick figure and dead. Because Jason already got you. I want to
Okay, but hold on. I'm not. Hold down.
Yeah, Will's got to go. I'm moving on from the animation shit. I'm like,
Okay.
go ahead, Will.
Slow down. I haven't talked about my skill set yet, what I could bring to the table here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so first off, I am definitely physically fit. However, most of my workout is lower body. I've a lot of leg muscle, not so much up here. But so I could definitely, hopefully, outrun Jason unless we're going by the Friday the 13th video game rules, in which case, pretty much fucked there. But yeah, and I'm definitely smart enough to know that facing Jason head on is just going to result in instant death. So pretty much, I would just try to outrun him as best as I can, and find some good hiding spots. I find I'm very good at finding spots that are pretty hard to find. I can easily squeeze into a lot of places, and I'm pretty adaptable to most situations, I like to think. And we're also forgetting the fact that I'm Freddy Krueger, so I mean,
Well, I'm Little Red Riding Hood, so I could give Jason goodies, and then he'll like me.
yeah.
Well,
I could torture Jason. I could torture Jason with showers, bitch.
You could. You fought Jason once.
That's right.
But Jason won that.
Yeah.
True,
Anyway.
but he had help. He had help from those annoying ass kids.
Guys, it's getting really late for me. I need to go. Sorry.
Wait, no, we can end the episode right here. We can go. So, Callum, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Stardust. You can find me here on this channel, actually. You can find me on YouTube, where I am currently, for this month, playing Little Nightmares in preparation for the sequel coming out next year, as well as
cool.
Halloween. Halloween Overwatch and Team Fortress 2, perhaps, for the rest of October. I might do a few reviews later on this month. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. I'm also on Instagram.
All right, Will, you go ahead now.
Okay, you can find me on Stardust at Darth Potter 7. You can find me on YouTube at WJS Productions. Still don't have anything on there yet. Again, all coming down the pipeline. And I've also recently created a Pokemon Trainer Club account. So once I figure out how the hell to work a Pokemon trading card game online, I mean, I think you can find me there. If they do online multiplayer, I don't know, but hopefully.
Maybe
don't forget your Bumble.
Pikachu.
Oh yeah, my Bumble too. I'm also on Bumble, so if you're a single woman in the Tampa Bay area, yeah. It's basically It's
a dating site, man.
Right. Okay.
It's the feminist version of
guys
Tinder.
are so desperate.
So, I have been Dr. Knealetapus. This is the Salunatics channel. You can subscribe to me right here if you want. You can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Knealetapus or Stardust at Dr. Knealetapus. And Callum, you go ahead and leave to end the episode.
Okay.
Keep it masterfully spooky.
Bye.
I'm going to tell Will a little ghost story. So sit on down, Will, by the fire. Are you comfy? Are you comfy, Will?
I'm quite comfy.
I want you to be comfy. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little ghost story.
All right.
This is the of Reactaholics and Halloween.
Oh no.
So Ron is there. Mel is there. I'm there, obviously. And I look pretty. Obviously.
You always look pretty.
Yes, thank you. Callum is there. And what we were going to do is we're going to camp in the woods. Specifically Ron's little corner of the woods. So we're all there. No Funko Pops allowed. It's a nice night. And then I want you to realize this, Will. I killed the shit out of everybody.
Okay.
I stabbed Mel right in the ear. I cut off Callum's head and his eyeballs and ate his eyeballs. I took Ron's hat and suffocated him with it down his own throat.
Oh, God.
You know why I did this? You know why? Because none of them were subscribed to my channel. Motherfuckers out there, subscribe. But seriously, though, if you like our content and you like Halloween, we're doing plenty of Halloween specials this season. So please watch. And if you like them, give us a sub. Give us a sub. We're so close. We're trying to reach 69 subscribers. That's the goal right now. So please get us up to 69. That being said, everybody, I've been Dr. Knealetapus. You have been Darth Potter. Darth Potter, haven't you? Have you been Darth Potter?
I have been Darth Potter / Freddy Krueger in desperate need of a better shaving razor.
Thank you for watching. And now I'm going to make that story a reality with Will. Come here, you're going to die. In the fire.
Try me, bitch.
Goodbye.